I'm going to be doing my Supercoach team reveal for the upcoming season. We're going to go through some of the players that I have, my thoughts and opinions, their prices, their break even, their fixture, and who I think are some good options for this year's Supercoach. So let's get right into it. So we're going to start off with my defense. I've got Connor Rosie as my D1. 568k, I think, is a really good price for someone like Connor Rosie. Um, with the nice average of 105 from last year, he's kind of transitioned a little bit more on the outside, especially with Josh Carr as the new coach, who's the Sandville coach for the Port Adelaide team. So, um, playing off halfback, he'll get a lot of the peel. And it's just a nice guy that we can have that we can rotate into the midfield if we need to. And I just think it's a really good price to have. I think a lot of people's going to have Rosie. So he was my first choice pretty much straight away. Um, so I really like him. D2, I've got Kobe McKercher. Now, his role, I think, is going to be such a big positive for Supercoach this year. Um, the main distributor of halfback. He'll be taking kick-ins, pushing up towards a wing, getting a lot of the pill. So I really think that he has a high ceiling. 449k is very cheap, especially for someone that averaged 83 last year, was ranked 85 in the season. So he could definitely get that average up towards like 95, potentially even 100. So I think he's a good option. Um, Once again, same with Rosie, just playing off halfback, getting a lot of the pill, might see him in the midfield. Um, and that brings us to Dan Houston, who I think's in the same boat. Uh, Severely underused at Collingwood. Couldn't really get the footy last year. Obviously, playing for the Dacos boys and stuff. Um, Houston didn't really get the same opportunities he did at Port Adelaide. And this off-season, he's been training with the midfielders. Uh, Hopefully that means we get some good scores out of him because a 79 average is not very good. But a 431k price with a potential role in the midfield, it's a risk that you're willing to take because only 2 years ago, he was averaging like 100 playing for Port. So if we can go back here, look at that 106 average playing off halfback for Port Adelaide. So we know he's capable of scoring. It's just about the role and where Collingwood decide to play him. So I think that he's a sleeper for 2026, and I'm willing to take that risk. At D4, we've got Zeke Euland, who's the second pick in the draft. I've mainly just gone with him just because I usually get all the big rookies. Um, Very good DPP, defensive mid. Um, I'm not too sure whether or not he will play straight away. Their team is absolutely stacked. So, yeah, he's one to watch. If he does play, he'll make us a lot of money. Very good player. D5, I've got Harry Dean. I think he's going to play pretty much every game for Carlton. More of like a cash cow type of player. Probably won't bring us the high scores that we're looking for, but I'm hoping for more of like a consistent basis between like 60 to 80, just so I can get him up to like 350, 400k, and then we can upgrade him later in the year to hopefully someone that can score higher. Um, I'm not sure how to say this guy's name, so someone let me know how to pronounce this. For now, we're going to call him Sammy G. Apparently, he's one of the standouts for Richmond in the off-season. Probably will play round one. I really like him with his role. 172k, obviously, as a rookie. Very cheap, high upside. Once again, here to make money, so then we can upgrade later in the year. Josh Lindsay, Falcons captain, Victorian boy, got drafted to WA. Has been training as more of like a half backish. So look out for him to take some kick-ins. I think if he plays, he'll score well. 122k, so it's just, you know, getting as many cheap guys in as possible that can make money. Jai Sarong, obviously made the move from Hawthorn. A lot of people were speculating whether or not he would join his brother Caleb at Fremantle. The Swans chased hard and they got their man, and he'll probably play in their best 22. So hopefully he's someone that makes us a ton of money. So he's starting in my team for sure. So that brings us to the midfield. Why can't I scroll down? Why? There we go. Nick Dacos. So I think Nick Dacos is definitely someone that is going to end up in our teams, whether it's at the start, midway, or back end of the year. He's an absolute gun. He's one of the best players in the competition. And I just figured, why not just start with him? I'm going to probably want him anyway. So most of Collingwood's success this year is probably going to be off the back of this guy. Um, Obviously, got Adelaide round one, tough matchup. The Pies might struggle this year, so we're not sure if it's going to be reflected in his scoring or not. But 116 average, it's too good to pass up. I feel like 628k is an okay price to pay for a primo, and it's Nick Dacos, so it might be the cheapest he gets for maybe the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season. Um, at M2, we have Jordan Dawson. So Jordan Dawson typically isn't the type of guy that I would target at the start of Supercoach. He's always been someone that I bring in mid-year. His scores kind of fluctuate. Like he has a very good average, but like he had a lot of down games where he would score like a flat 80 and stuff. So 611 is a bit much, but I feel like with the Crows season last year, and they're going to build on top of that, and I feel like he might just have another great year. Um, was one of the favourites to finish up there in the Brownlow, so he's definitely got that ceiling of a 130 type of guy. It's just whether or not he can consistently put up those high scores, because he put up a ton of like massive scores, but he also, those low 80s and stuff, like, it can be quite frustrating. So he can tackle, he gets points for tackles, uh, can kick goals, can play pretty much anywhere. So we're going to have him in our team. Next up, we've got Isaac Heaney. I'm not sure if he's a pod, which, for reference, means point of difference. So that means he would have low ownership. And I feel like he's a guy that's going to have another standout year, potentially a Brownlow year. Um, Bringing in Charlie Curnow, having another off season where he can get his body right. Swans with a disappointing year in 2025, so they want to bounce back. They've got an easy fixture. He averaged 109. I could see that easily being like a 116 like Dacos. So I think Heaney's definitely one that people are going to keep an eye on. And then we've got Zach Merritt. Zach Merritt mainly in my team due to fixture. Essendon have a really good run, especially for their midfielders. Um, he doesn't play many taggers for like the first 10 weeks. So I feel like he's got a really, really good option. 583, very nice price, averaged 107 last year. Obviously, with the failed move to Hawthorn, he's going to want to prove himself to the footy club and to his teammates. So look for Zach Merritt to start the year off with some really good games. And speaking of Essendon, we have his teammate Darcy Parish. And Darcy's had a couple years riddled with injuries. Every ligament there is to tear or sprain or strain or whatever. He's done it all. But this year he's come back, fit as a fiddle. Has been a standout in their match sim, looking really good. As we can see here, we can go back. We can just see he averages some decent stats like 88, 89. But then we look back to 2023, he averaged 108. He was one of the best midfielders in the competition at one point, and if he can stay fit, hopefully he can recapture some of that form that we saw a few years back. 334k means that like we still are able to take a punt on a guy like Darcy Parish, but also not hurt the bank and really get hurt if it doesn't work out. So I definitely think Darcy Parish could be someone that we either hold on to until he gets hurt, or might even stay into the team until the end of the year because 334k, he's probably going to make us 500 to 600k anyway. So I really do like him. Um, Willem Dersma, the number one draft pick in this year's draft. I think most people will have him. He'll get a lot of opportunity playing for the West Coast Eagles, and I really do think that he could be someone that averages 60 to 90. So we might not even have to trade him at all this year. So just keep an eye out on him and how he goes. And then we've got Jagger Smith coming off an ACL surgery. He didn't get to play last year, and he's put a lot of work into his rehab, and he's come back in just incredible form. I mean, absolutely dominated Carlton's match sim. He's going to start round one, and he's going to be someone that will make us quick money. Like, he is a standout young fella, and if you haven't seen him, definitely look him up. He's going to be someone to look out for this year as a potential rising star. Fancy. Will Brody. So Will Brody couldn't get a game at Fremantle, moved over there from the Gold Coast Suns, and it looked like he found himself a home. And then he just fell out of favour with the team and just couldn't get back into the side. So he's been playing reserves footy for the past 1 to 2 years, and he's absolutely lighting it up. I mean, the guy averages damn near 30 touches a game in the reserves comp. So for him to come across to Port Adelaide and Ollie Wines having a suspension for the first 2 to 3 weeks, I'm not quite sure on the exact number, but there's an open spot in the midfield. Horn Francis, obviously, coming back from an injury. They might want to ease him up. So there's definitely some minutes to be had in that midfield under Josh Carr. If Will Brody is a recipient of those minutes, he can definitely give us some really good scores, which then could correlate into some really nice money. 119k, cheap as chips, mate. He's just so good. I really think he's someone you should get into your side. Dyson Sharp, Essendon's first round draft pick. Just another one of those high picks that I think is really going to benefit the Supercoach system. I think he makes a lot of money early, and I'm just hoping that we can get him up to 350k quite early, and we can get like an early season upgrade. Um, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for Essendon players to really show what they can do. Projected to finish towards the bottom of the ladder, and with a lot of injuries and stuff, they're going to need guys to stand up. So Dyson Sharp, great pick. Patrick Retschko, so he's a former Geelong player, recently delisted, or was initially delisted, but then at the last minute was traded to Richmond for like pick 99. I definitely think he's going to fly under the radar this year. He showed up to Tigerland and absolutely dominated the time trials. He's got an absolute unit of a running tank, fast as he's just so good. Apparently has played himself into round one contention. So he's someone that could potentially play round one. 119k. Uh, I'm not sure about ownership, but I definitely think that if he puts together 1 to 2 good scores, we'll see a lot of people move towards him. And then rounding out my midfield bench, we've got Ollie Greaves. So Ollie Greaves was actually projected to go in the first round of the draft, and surprisingly, he went undrafted. And Hawthorn snapped him up. He's 99k, so that is the cheapest price in Supercoach. So it's kind of really like you can't miss with this guy because he's either going to be your loophole or you've got a 99k midfielder that's going to play for the Hawks. I mean, Will Day being out for 3 to 4 months, James Warple joining the Cats. There's midfield minutes to be had. And as you'll see with one of my later picks, we'll go into it a bit more. But Ollie Greaves, definitely someone to look at. if you're looking for a bottom basement type player. So now we move on to my rucks, and I've gone with Tim English. So Tim English, I think is going to be a really good recipient of the new ruck rule. So the new ruck rule, there's going to be no centre bounces anymore. So it's just going to be a straight up, and it's going to be more of like a verticality type of battle rather than your traditional sort of like grappling sort of ruck. And with English having a huge lead, we might see him dominate this year. And 600k, he's cheaper than Gorn, cheaper than Grundy, cheaper than Tristan Cherry. Um, he's definitely someone that will probably be in more people's teams than you'd expect. So, Tim English at Ruck 1. Ruck 2, I've gone Sam Draper. Potentially someone that might get moved into my forward line. At the moment, he's just Ruck 2 because of his price. Coming off the Achilles injury, it's still up in the air whether or not um, he's going to recapture that form at Essendon. But, as a number one ruck, being able to go forward, the DPP, you can't say no to this price. You just got to wait and see how he goes. So then we go to our forward line. Oh, sorry. Lockie McAndrew as our backup ruck. Apparently, he's been rucking as the one in the seniors and Team A during match sim. I don't know if that's anything to read into, but anything happens to Riley O'Brien, this fella's standing right in, and he might even get a game over O'Brien. He's a big boy, especially with the new ruck rule, might get a game. So, Lockie McAndrew as my reserves ruck. F1, Harry Sheasel. One of the best midfielders in the competition, quite easily North Melbourne's best player. I think that he goes to another level this year. It just seems like year after year, this guy finds a way to impress. Very similar player to Nick Dacos, where everything he touches turns to gold. 580k, he's probably going to be the highest scoring forward in Supercoach. So Harry Sheasel's an absolute no-brainer. We've got Christian Petrarca, who's made his move from Melbourne to Gold Coast. 522k for a guy of Christian's ability. It's just, we're laughing to the bank. This guy's going to average damn near 100. Last year, he averaged 96, coming back from that horrific injury and, trying to build confidence back into his body again. He looks a lot fitter. During match sim, he dominated, had a lot of midfield time. So if he's able to have a lot of midfield time this year, we're going to see this score go way up from 96 to potentially a 110. Obviously, playing for Gold Coast, he's got a really easy fixture. So we'll definitely take Petrarca. I've gone for more of a riskier choice here with Keziah Pickett. I feel like he's going to have a lot of more midfield minutes, especially with Oliver, Petrarca, and some other guys out of that midfield. Him being able to rotate through there, getting some goals, some easy possessions. Um, I'm not sure what he averaged last year. 91 average with not as much midfield minutes as what you would expect. So that definitely could be 100 for all we know. So I've got Cozzy Pickett. Sammy Flanders, 396k. He's going to play in the middle for the Saints. Was played out of position at Gold Coast, so luckily we've got that forward position. He'll be playing pretty much entirely mid, so he can get that average from. I think he played half back in 24 or 23, but you see, yeah, look at that, 119 down to a 73. We're going to see him recapture that form quite easily. Connor McDonald. So obviously with the injury to Will Day and Warple leaving, it's left a hole in the Hawks midfield, and it seems like Connor McDonald's been the one to fill that so far. He looks amazing and was their best player during match sim. So um, he's definitely someone you should look at for someone that's going to play mid, can easily make us money. Potentially could be even a pod choice depending on how many people pick him. I really like his upside and definitely think he can have impact and value this year. We've got Mateus Philippou at 168k. He was meant to be the breakout player last year, but he broke his leg, missed probably like 10 weeks, so couldn't really get going. He's going to play midfield, obviously. High upside, very high upside for that price. Can make us a lot of money early. So a lot. I think he'll be one of the most high owned players in the forward line. And then we've got Lockie Doverston. If you haven't seen my recent video, I've said this guy's going to win the Rising Star. Big upside. Uh, I rate him as like a Toby Green, Brian Myers, like a Jack Ginnivan, a Tom Papley. Like he's a hybrid medium small. So like he'll get you your 15 touches, but he'll kick 2+ goals. I think he's an absolute beast. Sid Draper, another guy that could be a bit beneficiary of injuries and stuff. Dan Curtin being out for a couple months could open the door for this man to get some midfield minutes. DPP, cheapest chips, mate, 126k, former first round pick. So he'll get a lot more game time this year. So I really like him. And then finally at flex, we've got Todd Marshall. So you're probably wondering why the hell have I got Todd Marshall on my team? And I'll tell you why. He's playing in defence this year. And you're like, why is Port Adelaide's leading goal kicker for the past 5 years playing in defence? Probably due to injuries, concussions. He had an Achilles injury and then concussion. It's just it's been horrible for him, and they've put him in defence, and he's looked really good back there, taking some kick-ins, intercept marks. Um, he could be a high-scoring guy for us, and being a forward, he'll get a DPP upgrade pretty early in the year. So he's someone that you can swing back in defence later, or you can keep him in your forward line. Could have some decent scores here and there, but mainly looking at him to make us some more money. So hopefully we can get those upgrades. But at the moment, that's mainly going to be my round one team. Barring any changes or injuries during preseason and Origin, that's going to be my round one team. Um, I'll make sure to keep you guys updated with rankings, trades, and updates. If you have any questions or anything you want to know about Supercoach, make sure to leave a comment down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.